and then you can get it out on your YouTube and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, and the intention again of these calls is to give you a market update. So we'll wait for Nikki. I just sent her a text. This is our first Monday, so she might have thought it was going to start next week. But either way, very glad you're here because I think it's really important, especially what I'm hearing from a lot of agents. And this is, again, open call. So feel free to jump in, ask questions. This is for you. We're just facilitating it. There's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of not sure where things are going or, how do you talk about this? A lot of objection handlers. So what I've been talking to agents about a lot right now is really what can you control? How can you show up? What conversations are you having? I know that we can really, if you're very good at your objection handlers or scripts, you can spin anything into a buyer's market, into a seller's market. It's a good time, it's not. So think about where you're coming from and how you're thinking and how you're speaking to your clients, to your prospects, to your sphere. There are 3 different places to go, and yet how are you showing up, if you're even showing up? So the motivation, the mindset I want to talk about this week is going into, take where we're at in general. We're in the month of November, and what is November known for? It's known for gratitude. So if you know anything about me, I practice gratitude every day, and I believe everyone should, and yet many don't. So in the month of November, what can you do to reach out to those that know you, like you, trust you, are past clients or friends, family, sphere, whomever, and show them gratitude? It can be as simple as a phone call, a text, thinking of you, a gift. That can be done in so many ways that can cost something or doesn't need to cost anything at all. So I would love to hear, if you're in the spirit of gratitude and on this call, are there any things that you've done in the past or that you're looking to do this month to participate in the giving of gratitude? Yeah.
I was in my closet this morning and I gave gratitude that I had that pair of pants I could wear, or that pair of pants. I mean, just the littlest thing you can be grateful for. I've got gray, I've got black, I've got patterns. So, I mean, you can be grateful for anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I did a call. I did the level up call this morning for EXP University. I do that with my business partner, Haley, as you know, Angie, every Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We actually talked a lot about the phrases that we say. And they are the phrases that happy and successful people say, happy and successful real estate agents say. Most of them come down to gratitude at the end of the day and what we focus on. And the first one that I always think of is like starting your day out with today. And this is a phrase you use all the time. Today I get to. There's a significant difference between saying I get to do something and I have to do something. And when we start saying I get to, and we really realize, we might not want to do the lead generation today, but we actually have the opportunity to. We actually have people we could call. We actually have a database and a sphere of influence. We actually have some foundation of our business. We actually have the knowledge to go help people. We even actually have the health and the wherewithal to get up today and go and actually do that for somebody. And there are other people that are literally unable to physically or mentally do that. And we get to do it today. And, that's one that I think changes everything. And if we can just remind ourselves of that, have a screensaver, have it posted in our, next to our computer. I get to do this today. I mean, it's the same thing with working out. We always are like, we don't want to do it, but the people who can't do it, they wish so bad that they actually could. Yeah. And we have to realize that we get to do it.
Yeah. And I heard something this weekend that piggybacks on that. Have you ever been mad and upset that you went and worked out or regretted it? No, but then we'll sit and regret if we don't do it.
Yeah. Even if we're really sore, we're still really happy we did it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wonderful. Well, I appreciate all that. Nikki, welcome to the call. We're so glad you can make it today. And again, she's going to be a staple on these calls because I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit, but I've heard Nikki speak. Christy was on this call as well, has had her in many of our growth collaborative calls and chats, and how she shows up in the information and what she delivers and how she delivers it is just exceptional. So I wanted to start this call up again and really start your week off right with what's happened, and more importantly, what is going to be happening. It's so very important. And without further ado, Nikki, I'll let you take it away to give the update of what we need to know as agents to go out and to have high level conversation and to add to our success.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks so much, Angie, for having me. I'm excited about these calls and to kind of get things going again. It's, for me, it's a really a personal, journey and a personal help to really help you guys understand what's happening in the market. Little tidbits for conversation that you guys can have, how you can position your buyers and your sellers in the market as it's constantly changing. So a lot of you know me already, you know how much I pour into like markets and reviewing and what's happening and legislation and all those different things. And so it's a good opportunity for me to bring that information to you guys and then be able to use that in order to help clients. I would say the biggest thing that's happening right now is obviously the election. So the election historically has helped interest rates in the sense that we usually see December, January of an election year, interest rates will start to come down. This year in particular, with the candidates being announced, we've already started to see kind of that little bit of drop in interest rates. We hit the height, or what the experts believe is the height of the interest rates, a couple weeks ago. And we were leveling off around 8.5 to 8.75. So a little bit scary from that standpoint as we near that 9% mark. But because of the behavior of the 10-year treasury and the behavior of the investors in mortgage-backed securities, we're seeing those interest rates come back down. That's great news for everyone, obviously, as we head into the new year. The most important thing that we're really concentrating right now is those conversations that we're having. So those conversations that we're having with clients are really centered around what is the best strategy for me to buy? How can I get in with an interest rate that I'm comfortable with, but not have to spend too much money on a buy down in order to do so? What that has done is spark conversation, and I believe this conversation will be around for a long time. Sellers are putting in their listings, and I don't know if you guys have seen an uptick in this, but the sellers are willing to do a buy down for the client instead of saying, I'm gonna pay 3% and seller pay closing costs. I'm going to elect to do a buy down instead. Those buy downs usually cost anywhere from 2.2 to 2.5% of the purchase price. For anything that's under 600,000, that's usually about the cost of it. So it saves them a little money on the backside. You can also put a dollar amount to that. $10,000 instead of saying, okay, I'm going to pay 3% on a $400,000 purchase. Sorry, my cat hates it when I'm on Zoom. He absolutely just hates it. Anyway, so instead of doing, put a dollar amount to it, talk to your lender and say, okay, if they were to do a temporary buy down on this, or they were to offer it to the buyers, what's that dollar amount that they should offer? Things like that. We can do those calculations for you super quickly. That is probably honestly the most popular thing right now. The big thing that I'm quoting the most is, if I go into this property and I want to buy this property with a strategy, how much do I need to ask for from the sellers in order to do what's called that temporary buy down? So just some things to keep in mind as we watch interest rates. Always, obviously questions, things of that nature. We expect, according to what Barry Habib has said, who is one of the foremost experts in the mortgage market, we are expecting interest rates to come down again, towards February-ish. And as you guys know, as interest rate comes down, home prices go up. But there's always a little bit of a lag time in that. So as interest rates are coming down in January and February, those buyers that have been sitting on the fence going, I can't find something, or I don't want to pay these interest rates, as those start to come down, that cost of that home is not going to go up right away. There's probably going to be about a month and a half lag time where we can really find our buyers who've been sitting on the fence some really good opportunities to purchase smart and to purchase right before those prices go up so they can enjoy the appreciation. One more note about appreciation. Everybody thinks we're in a down market. All the statistics, all the graphs, all the weigh-ins from everybody who tracks appreciation across the United States is saying that we're going to level out at about 6% appreciation this year, which is actually really good considering. People are saying, oh my gosh, home prices, they're dropping on these listing prices. Some of them are, But I think that a lot of that is because they were too high to begin with in the first place, because we expected appreciation numbers that just weren't going to be there. So the good news is still appreciation this year, around 6% across the board. The downside, of course, being that there are some markets where that appreciation is going to be a little lower, but there's really not a lot of markets where it's negative or depreciation on the asset. So just keep that in mind as we're working with people. So.
Love it. Any questions or thoughts or things that you guys are seeing?
I started talking, I was muted. So I think it's really important too, as this is coming, and this is why one of the reasons, many reasons, it's so important to join this call, because when that time comes in February, what we're going to be talking about then is strategies to find these homes, because we're still going to probably be dealing with inventory, and where do we find those homes so that we have that niche time in this market where we can really capitalize on it for our buyers and showing up at such a high level. So I love having these forecasts so that we can start thinking now and strategizing now and having these conversations and preparing ourselves and our clients and prospects to what is coming. Because the more you can prepare and coming up and grabbing this information from Nikki, it's just going to make you look good. And that's kind of what she's here for, is to help us make you look good. And so you can show up and have conversations and understanding that other agents aren't having. And I know that there's going to be some new agents watching this, or maybe that aren't as experienced or don't have an amazing lender like Nikki in your back pocket. You probably don't know what a buy down rate is. Look her up. Nikki, drop your information, please, in the chat. We'll get it on the live stream. We'll get it on any postings, because it's so important to understand all the options. And each week we'll roll out different options and you'll start to understand really what those are. But at any time, I know Nikki is available and happy to help and answer questions. She also does amazing co-branding. If you need someone to co-brand with you in your marketing or open houses or flyers, and come and even level up your value in that way even more. So appreciate all the information. It's got me really thinking about, you know, what conversation can you have? And as Carrie and I started the call with, as you're making these calls of maybe gratitude and checking in with past clients, prospects, you know, asking these questions and asking who they know, or what can you be doing to add, or would this information be helpful, or who needs this information that they know. I mean, this can just have such a ripple effect, and not so looking at, you know, having the blinders on and just looking down this one lane. Take this information and really expand on it to so many different lanes and ways you can use it. Again, because you're the professional, you need to show up at a high level and impact people everywhere you look, not just Sphere, our past clients, referrals, and current prospects. Yeah.
Do we have time for one more question for Nikki?
Yeah.
Nikki, as you were just describing, when the interest rates come down and the prices go up, I know part of the concern is housing affordability. So can you rub your crystal ball and tell us kind of, are people still going to be able to afford mortgages as these prices go up, or what are your thoughts on that?
That's such a great question. So a lot of what envelops kind of like the mortgage interest rate in general is going to be that inflation number. So there's a couple key indicators that we look at when we talk about mortgage interest rates. Number one is going to be that unemployment rate. And number two is going to be the inflation rate. So as those things improve, or as the unemployment rate actually goes up, believe it or not, and as the inflation goes down, that's when we start to see favorable interest rates. Now, with the whole reason for these temporary buy downs and why there's such a big push in the industry for these temporary buy downs is to take that housing affordability and make it more affordable for our clients. The idea being that over time, one of two things is going to happen. They're going to increase their economic abilities, in other words, increase their income in some way, shape, or form, or they're going to be able to refinance into a lower permanent interest rate, or a combination of both. Now, every statistic that has ever came out about housing and purchasing housing and affordability, and how we look at affordability versus economic standing, and how people kind of, I guess you would use the term, rise to the occasion of home ownership, is that it has drastically improved people's progress to get out of poverty when they have home ownership, because of the flexibility of you're stabilizing your housing payment. If you think about a lot of people who are in rental situations right now that may not have the best credit, that don't have a lot of disposable income, what happens to them when every year they have a rental increase? So sometimes affordability isn't cheaper than rent. Sometimes affordability centers around stabilizing that housing payment. And that's a lot of what we talk about as well. Is, yeah, you might pay $1,800 right now in rent and your mortgage payment is going to be $2,000, but we're stabilizing that housing payment for you. So the things that you can control, i.e. if taxes go up, you get to control whether you pay that right away or not. It's not up to the landlord. You know, you get to control your insurance if you need to shop around for it, things that you can control. And that's actually huge for a lot of people who are in that, you know, first time home buyer, or even that, what we would call that poverty level by way of, you know, just the numbers that the government comes up with from a poverty standpoint. You can exponentially raise yourself out of poverty, and it's been proven over and over and over again by that home ownership. And so affordability is such a, like, I don't want to say a subjective term, because there is affordability that we have to take into consideration, but it's more centered around what is that long-term outlook? How can we help them increase, you know, their ability and affordability over time, and how can we stabilize that housing payment? So that's really what we look at, is that stabilization.
That's a great point. Yeah, we've watched that index of housing affordability. You know, people used to have 130% of what it took to purchase a home. Now, you know, it's way down in the 90s or 80s, and so that's a concern. But
it is.
People still buy houses. People still have, you know, life events where they need to buy and sell. So I just wanted to get your take on it. That's really
well.
Good
The other
point.
thing you have to take into consideration is there's a lot more down payment assistance programs right now that are helping people get into homes to help stabilize that payment. That's a huge thing to keep in mind, because when, like I said, for the first time in a long time, the amount of rent, something you can pay for rent, is less than your mortgage payment, which doesn't happen very often, but, you know, dollar for dollar, it's less right now. But why would you ever buy a house then? You know, why would anyone say, oh, I'm going to spend $300 extra a month to buy this house when I can rent for much cheaper? And it's like, well, if you have, you know, there's a lot of things, like I said, that go into it. Grant money, down payment assistance, stabilization of payment, things of that nature. And really just having those conversations is going to be huge for people who are on the fence.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nikki. Thanks for the great question.
And Nikki, what states do you service, or, you know, where can you help people? Because we do have a lot of people watching live stream and EXP Family Tree. We have 10,000 agents, and they're all over the country. So as we start to invite more people, we might have people from all over, which will be great, because we'll be hearing perspectives from different people in the different markets. So
Sure. So I mainly serve Minnesota and Arizona. However, I am licensed in the states surrounding Minnesota, so Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota. I'm also licensed in Florida, Georgia, Texas, Colorado, California, Washington, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and then Maine. So
awesome. And if there's some of those that you're not licensed in, you probably have a referral. So
yes, if I'm not licensed in those states, I can actually do the quoting for those states, but I cannot actually do the loan application process. So, you know, we can have you fill out the application, you know, on our side, and then I just partner with another loan officer that is licensed in that state. And then I'm still your main point of contact. I just can't run the actual physical loan.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Yeah.
So those of you that are learning from Nikki and want information, Nikki, can you chat your information in the chat box too? And we'll do that every week so that people can reach out to you if they'd like. I love that. Angie, what else do you have for motivation and mindset as we wrap the call up today?
Really, if you're not calling, or if you're not reaching out, and if you're not making the connections, make a commitment and a decision right now on a number that you're going to hit this week, and divide it by 5 or divide it by 4, make it doable. But the main thing is just get in action, because we can sit here and we can plan all day long, but if you don't step out and take the action, nothing's going to happen. So commit to what you're going to do and then do it. That's the best way to level up yourself, for sure.
That's right. And then join every Monday and come back with your goals. Use this for accountability. Use it for some motivation to start your week out. Angie and Nikki are dedicated to be here every week. I'll be here often as well. And it's important for you to make a decision that you want to start your week out with the right mindset and with the right information, and then leaving the call and going into some action with what you just learned would be really, really the important next step. If we're attending calls, but we're not doing anything about it, then the knowledge is not powerful in any way, shape, or form. It's the action that makes the knowledge we gain powerful. So great job, you guys. Nice to see you. We'll see you next Monday. Reminder, we have a conversation on Wednesday again here in EXP Family Tree, like we always do, at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's 11 a.m. Pacific. You can calculate your time zones in between. And this one's going to be on operations. We have Sharon Casey coming back, and she just talks about like just the operations and foundations, operationally speaking, of your business. She comes on once a month and does that. So come with the operational questions. Where are you struggling? Where are you disorganized? What do you need help with? And she can answer some of those questions. And that would be great. If you are into the growth of your revenue share and you're with EXP Realty, don't forget Rich Tomasini's call, which is at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. It's the hour before our call. So hope to see you guys this week. And thanks, Angie. Thanks, Nikki, and everybody that joined. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.